practice witchcraft through magic spells and with the help or intuition of spirits used to be seen as witches. They were seen as a kind who did the devil's work. In Europe, they were perceived as evil beings by early Christians. Images of witches in many different forms have appeared throughout history. In those images, these so-called witches were often evil women with a wart on their noses. They usually had a cauldron for making their potions, probably to harm innocent people. These witches also wore pointy hats and rode through the sky cackling on a broom. All this with the purpose to make people scared. However, what we understand today is that many of these women were what we call wise women, simply natural healers whose life choices were often misunderstood. In the book of Samuel, written between the years 931 and 721 before Christ, we find one of the earliest records of a witch in the Bible, probably one of the first witch appearances registered in history. This text tells the story of King Saul, who once sought help from the witch of Endor to summon the dead prophet Samuel's spirit to help him defeat the Philistine army. The witch did what she was asked to, but Samuel then prophesied the death of Saul and his sons. According to the Bible, on the very next day, Saul's sons died in battle, and Saul committed suicide. Around the mid-1400s, witch hysteria became a real thing in Europe, and from these years on, many were accused of witchcraft and, under torture, have confessed to a various of wicked acts. These people, mostly women who were single or widows, and so on the margins of society. The episode of Salem in the United States became quite famous. More than 200 people there were considered witches, and about 20 of them were killed under false and hysterical testimonials and accusations of behaving on evil's behalf. One of the many women judged as witches that we know of very well is Joan of Arc, known today as the Maid of Orleans, one of the world's greatest saints. She was a brave person who showed immense faith in God and the spirits. She was certain that they were voices sent by God to give her a divine mission of overwhelming importance, saving France by expelling the enemies, installing Charles as its rightful king. She spoke to Charles and asked him for letting her lead a French army to the city of Orleans. There, they achieved victory and as a result, crowned former Prince Charles, King Charles VII. After the coronation, however, Joan was captured and accused of witchcraft and heresy, and burned at the stake in 1431. She was 19 years old then. Fortunately, we know now that witches are nothing but people who, along our many centuries, manipulate herbs and what they find in nature for making their magic potions, which can heal and help people. They may also be mediums, people who listen to the voices sent by God and follow the messages and intuitions He sends through them. We can find in the Spiritist doctrine that spirits are always sending us messages and influencing in our lives more than we can be aware of, for good and bad. So we know we have to be always vigilant and try as much as we can not to judge. Because people like these who judged witches have always lived among us along history. People who nurture false and pretentious religious beliefs of having been born with important missions to purify the earth and the religion. These people manifest the soul's darkest, most hysterical and maleficent side. The side people tend to say was left behind, but will probably come back if one's not careful enough. Unfortunately, people like this still live among us, even among us Spiritists. In spite of believing being humble ones in service of God, they tend to criticize what they do not agree with, what is different, just because. But what they keep forgetting is that our first and most important mission is loving our neighbor and respecting all humans and all beings. Let us always remember that God loves us all and we are all worthy of His blessings and His love. Whenever we face something we still don't understand, we should learn about it before making any assumptions. That is what God truly expects from us. Did you like this video? You can find more Halloween fun facts on this video right here in our channel. Remember to subscribe, like the video, and share with everybody you know. And have a very happy Halloween!